hip hop infused with metal. And then you have metal artists that saw that and they're like, yo, let's do metal infused with hip hop. Because I do like quite a few sessions with people where they'll tell me like, you know, I'm feeling writer's block, like everything I'm writing, like I just can't make something original and whatever. And I'm like, okay, fine. If you don't feel like your ideas are original, at least make the converging of your ideas original. You know, like take folk blues and combine that with electronic and hip hop and bam. I have not heard that. And if it's been done, it's been done by like 2 people.
It's on the way. Me and Chauncey got a collab coming.
Word.
I'm actually I got to hit him up. I'm really excited about that one.
Hell yeah. So, all right, throw in another influence there. Bam, now you got something unique. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know there's a song that your mom played as a kid that is very nostalgic to you, and you could pick out a few elements from that and combine it with something you were super passionate about in your teen years and combine that with something that you listened to yesterday. Bam.
Yeah. And that seems to be the cycle of pop music. I mean, for real, it's like what was super nostalgic to the people who are making the most popular music in the world now? Like, what was the thing they were all about when they were a kid? So that's why we've got all these 80s and 90s records coming back in 2020. You know, it's like the Weeknd's on this 80 tip. And like last year, Bruno Mars and Cardi B were on that like super new jack swing, you know.
Yeah.
And it always goes like that. And I remember being a kid and like listening to Puff Daddy records and Biggie records and Tupac records and be like, this is the shit. And then like 6, 8, 10 years later, listening to like old vinyl I found and be like, oh, that's where that came from. That record was from 1973. Oh, it all makes sense now because those dudes in the 90s were all raiding their parents' record collections.
100%. Yeah, I feel like that's really important because everybody's looking for that nostalgia factor. And whether it's fashion, whether it's like visual aesthetics, like you see in like, I feel like the SoundCloud rap community really brought forward that like VHS old aesthetic for like music videos and stuff. And then everybody from other genres hopped on that. And now that's a thing. And then like now the trend is degrading audio, degrading video, trying to like get that feel of like recording stuff on like this bulky camera on tape and like shooting pictures on film, like, and then in 20 years, shit's going to get even more advanced. It might be VR. And then people are going to be like, man, like, remember 2020, like, we want to degrade our VR to look like that or whatever it ends up being.
It just looks like HD video. How crazy.
Right.
It's like 2D and everything. Bobby, speaking of SoundCloud rap, like another perfect talk about this mash of genres. They took brand new trap beats and mixed them with like 2000s era pop punk vocals. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, it's like you sound like you're Blink-182 like over a Lil Uzi beat. And it's like perfect. Like, okay, sick. I guess it was a Lil Uzi doing it like over a Metro Boomin beat or whatever. And It's like, yeah, okay. This is like that nice nostalgia. So the kids who didn't go through that era get to have it for the first time. And the folks who are a little bit older who have strong nostalgic ties to that era, but also like new music, get that, oh shit, it's what I loved back then. It's back. Yes.
100%. I find it really interesting too. That's a great example because when it first started, I feel like people didn't think about it much more than like, let's put guitar over a trap beat. And then it was, let's introduce these vocals. And now you have, you know, artists like Nothing Nowhere versus Juice WRLD, R.I.P., right? Who are doing like the same thing, kind of. It stemmed from the same thing, but would you really call Nothing Nowhere trap? Like Juice WRLD is definitely in the hip hop world, but now you have this offshoot that's like emo with 808s. It's more emo than it is hip hop, but they both stemmed from this converging of genres, and now that's shot off and blossomed into multiple different avenues.
Yeah.
I love Nothing Nowhere, by the way. That song, Clarity and Kerosene, is
Shout outs to him.
Such a beautiful combination of genres. Like, woo-wee, like taking that like full on like fuck you pop punk emotion with like catchy lyrics and then putting it over like a hip hop beat. Like he does what he does really well. There's also like a whole wave of like fucking sad boy and sad girl, sad whoever, sad people, like emo vocals that are like dark and weird over like weird like underprocessed beats. And I also love that movement. Like I love how raw that shit is. Like Lil Bo Weep. Like I don't know if you guys know.
I've heard of him.
Download with her. Which
she's on the weekly download.
Turned me on to her music.
Cool.
I love her shit, and I found a bunch of related artists through just fucking Spotify after hearing about her from the weekly download, and like it spawned a birth of a whole new playlist like of music for me on Spotify that I absolutely love listening to now, which is all that like kind of like sad pop punk, but like darker vibes. The playlist is called Summon Demons and Chill. If you want to listen to it on Spotify, you can go find that on my profile.
Send me a link to that. I'll put it in the show notes.
Excellent.
Yeah, totally. I'm so excited. I don't know how this one slipped by me. I'm super stoked to check her out.
Yeah.
I'm all about it. I'm hearing too people like bringing in metal with trap. Like it started with obviously that SoundCloud era and is spun off into artists like Scarlord, or you have the aggressive style of like XXXTentacion. I feel like brought it to the forefront maybe. Well, I don't know. That's debatable. But you like prominent artists nowadays are like, you know, Scarlord is really like taking that sound, brought it forward. It's cool, man. It's cool to see like all the different ways, because now you have somebody like Scarlord who's coming from that trap background and doing more so hip hop infused with metal. And then you have metal artists that saw that and they're like, yo, let's do metal infused with hip hop.
Yeah,
and now these two genres are sort of breeding, and they're going to offshoot into their own things. Who knows if it's going to be like progressive metal trap and thrash metal trap, and then it's going to be like metal trap and metal boom bap and metal whatever. So it's super exciting.
One of like kind of part of the genesis of the project I'm doing now is that like a lot of metal guys will put electronic elements in their music, but it's still 80% metal, and then you have like an electronic section or like an electronic breakdown, or guys like Sullivan King that are really good at the opposite, which is 80% electronic and then 20% metal. And that metal comes from a metal section where there is metal drums, metal guitar, and it's like, here's the metal section of the song, build up, and then a dubstep drop. Like what I want to do is like 50-50 of both, and have like the full integration of both vibes in a way that it's not like, oh, they put electronic shit in that song, oh, they put metal shit in that song. I want it to be like, oh, this is that vibe that you loved when you were a teenager listening to Linkin Park, but it's just a little bit more new sounding. I don't know.
You have reanimated into new metal.
You've
reanimated reanimation.
Amen.
I feel like you're pretty there, homie. Like
we're still getting there.
There's a lot of bands that are trying to do it in their own unique way. There's a lot of artists that are, you know, solo trying to do it their own way. And the beautiful thing about that is there's so many different ways to combine it. Like I feel like you're on your own wave, and I could totally see you influencing other artists in like 5-10 years to like go down your route of doing that. And there's going to be other prominent artists. They're going to spawn their own little subgenres and so on. And I want to bring this to something I heard in a podcast with Charlie Rocket. shout outs to Charlie Rocket. If you guys don't know who he is, he's so awesome, super fascinating human being. He talks about
my guy Micro
Yeah.
is actually like working with him. Actually, a couple of my
No
friends are actually
shit.
working with him pretty heavy right now, and been telling me about his whole pink door situation.
Quantopia.
Yeah, Quantopia.
Man,
Yeah.
we should we'll leave
It's a
Charlie
secret.
Rocket. Yes, but he's
Kind
very
of.
inclusive about it, and I have so much respect for what the guy's doing. I hope I just get to like shake his hand and be like, bro, music needs more of you. Anyway, huge respect
Anybody
to the
that doesn't
dude.
know, real quick, he was 2 Chainz's manager, helped blow him up. He's done a lot of other dope stuff in the music space. Look him up, Charlie Rocket. But Tesko, keep
Much more fascinating than that, though. Fought brain cancer his whole life, beat that shit, was overweight, became a Nike athlete, and now is like training to be in the NBA. I believe that's his like current goal. And he goes really heavy on that topic of like manifestation and like writing your own future. He's very fascinating personality. What he achieved is super amazing. And I love the way he looks at certain things in music and life in general. There's one thing he talks about that I want to bring up called the little brother effect, which is the older brother, right, gets into his genre of music, whatever, and there's the little sibling, it doesn't matter, right? They grow up looking at their older sibling and they're like, oh, that's so cool. I want to listen to that. I want to be into that. I want to dress like that. And then they get to their teenage rebellious phase and they're like, oh, I don't want to be just like him. I want to be my own person. So then they go and they make weird ass music. They start dressing weird. If their siblings dressing in skinny, they're dressing in baggy, right? If their siblings listening to pop punk, they're like, I want more aggressive vocals. I want something Big Brother's gonna hate.
Bro, that was my little brother for sure.
Yeah. So, and now you have generations of little brothers like hopping on that bandwagon for a while, getting into that, and then going through that phase of, you know, trying to find out who they are as a person and experimenting and chopping and screwing every single factor that they copied from the older sibling. And then that's how these new genres and new trends and whatever start to blossom up.
Yeah.
I really like that theory because I think a lot of artists too, like that are scared of copying people, you know, I think they get in that mindset of like, if I just, you know, if I'm influenced by this person, I'm going to grow up to be a carbon copy of them. And it's just not true. If you continue to do your own thing, you will find your own lane, and it's going to be something different, and it might be influenced by that, but you're going to, again, converge some different influences with that original influence that are going to just, you know, propel you to like a totally different lane.
I like it. What's up, humans? It's Luke, your friendly neighborhood trap Jesus. Thank you so much for watching our videos. We appreciate you. Remember to like and subscribe to our channels. And if you have any questions or topics that we need to cover on the show, put them in the comments. Appreciate you. Peace and peace among worlds.